Well, Karen and Wendy asked me to speak about the life of Divaldo Pereira Franco and a little bit about the Spiritism in Mexico. Mainly, I did my work about Divaldo, but and so the Spiritism in Mexico is a short one, but it's interesting. Let me because so I don't speak like 1 hour long. I'm not going to read all of this. I'm going to read only like 3 parts of the fifth or the 5 parts. Okay.
Okay.
Well, the fifth one, and look, it's the same picture that you say on San Francisco. When, well, as you can see, my pronunciation is not perfect. So what I'm going to say is written on the screen, so you can write along. Spiritism was introduced in Mexico in the 1860s and gained popularity among the upper and middle class during the Porfiriato regime. Porfiriato is the term of the President Porfirio Díaz. La revista Espiritista, whose means the Spiritism magazine, was established in 1855, followed by the Central Spiritist Society of the Mexican Republic. Santiago Sierra Méndez played a key role in the society. Later, his future-in-law, Refugio Y. González, founded La Ilustración Espírita, a newspaper that advocated for spiritism and featured articles on mediums and spiritist sessions. The 19th century saw a decline in people's connection with the Catholic Church due to the emphasis on science from Auguste Comte's positivism ideology. The Mexican Spiritism originated in Guadalajara, where Allan Kardec, the Spirit books, was translated to Spanish. In 1891 to 1892, Francisco y Madero, from a wealthy family, studied in Paris and discovered the Revue Spirit, the Spiritism magazine, and who was subscribed by his father. Impressed, he read all Allan Kardec books and joined a Spiritist circle where they revealed he was a writing medium. He was a psychographer. Madero later became the president of Mexico, making him the only Spiritist president in history. And I have if you want more info, I have a YouTube video that is named Francisco de Madero, the medium who became a president. The Spirits guided him to overthrow the President Porfirio Díaz's dictatorship after 35 years in power. They provided a date and instructions and was able to carry it out successfully. However, a traitor took his life shortly after due to his carelessness, stating that the spirits would protect him from harm. And here is a branch of Spiritism that in Mexico there are like maybe like 2-3 branches, but this is the bigger one. Spiritismo Mariano Trinitario, which means Marian Trinitarian Spiritism. During the Porfiriato era, the Porfirio Díaz, a new cult emerged, combining French Spiritism and local shamanic beliefs. This cult focuses on spirit possessions in human materia, or matter, for healing and communicating messages from the beyond. Its rituals and symbols blend Catholic tradition with 19th century French spiritualism and Freemasonry spirit. Mexico is a country that believes in the supernatural and spiritual. Here is the president of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador. He's the current president, and he's receiving a spiritual cleansing. And he do this very often. During Spanish conquest of Mexico in the 16th century, the Catholic Spanish conquistadors aimed to convert Mexicans to Christianity. They realized that imposing Catholicism directly could lead to resistance. To overcome this, missionaries used religious syncretisms. This strategy involved linking indigenous beliefs with Christianity, such as equating indigenous gods with Christian saints. By integrating elements from both traditions, missionaries were able to facilitate the conversion of indigenous population to Christianity. But Mexican pre-Hispanic esoteric beliefs, like spiritual cleansing and protections against negative energies, have persisted through modern times. Spiritual cleanses involve using herbs, incense, and tools like feathers or stones to purify the body and soul. This ritual seeks to renew vital energy and remove obstacles affecting health, emotional well-being. Shamans and healers with ancestral knowledge may conduct ceremonies to combat negative force. Many people secretly follow them to avoid criticisms from a religious society, influential church. Their beliefs are often kept private to maintain social harmony. Morning shows often feature mediums, clairvoyants, and psychics. In Mexico, the term Spiritism has evolved into a general reference for mediumship, its original meaning known only to those familiar with Kardec. Spiritism, being linked in some way to all these esoteric themes, still suffer the same rejection by a large part of society. However, the dissemination by institutions such as Spiritist Council of Mexico, Consejo Espírita de México, and Divaldo Franco and Chico Xavier charity efforts and movies have raised awareness about the Spiritist doctrine, prompting many to seek further education of the subject. Well, that is the first part. Any questions?
It's fascinating, Alberto. I think you can continue and we'll have all the questions at the end.
Okay. This is the life and works of Divaldo Pereira Franco. Divaldo is a Brazilian medium, lecturer, writer, speaker, philanthropist, and spiritist communicator, founder, along with Nilson Pereira, of the Mansion of the Way, Mansão do Camino, a charitable institution that helps and feeds approximately 5,000 people a day. His early years. Divaldo Pereira Franco was born on May 5, 1927, in Feira de Santana, Bahia, Brazil. He was the youngest of 13 children. He began having visions at a young age and discovered Spiritism at 17. Despite his mother's health issues and the doctor's recommendation for an abortion, she risked her life to have him. Divaldo's grandmother had died giving birth to his mother, creating a parallel story, but this time both mother and child survived. He pursued a career in teaching while following his spiritual path. At 4 years old, he already saw shadows jumping over him. There was a spirit that requested to communicate with Divaldo's mother, and that spirit claimed to be Maria Señorina, Divaldo's grandmother, unknown to him and to his mother. This is sent from the biographic movie of Divaldo. Doña Ana, older sister, confirmed that she was her mother, thanks to the Divaldo description. Divaldo said that he became friends with a spirit in the shape of a child called Hawaraku. But he also tells of the sad farewell he had when Hawaraku said that he will no longer be able to be with him because he was preparing for reincarnation. And now, how Divaldo met spirits. Sometime later, Divaldo's sister tragically ended her own life by consuming poison. deepening the void on his life. On June 23, 1944, his 26-year-old brother Jose passed away, leading Divaldo to fall ill that same night. When they brought the body to pray the rosary, Divaldo was left paralyzed from the waist down for 6 months due to the emotional shock, according to doctors. El doctor consulting Divaldo. Clarice Rosa de Souza, a cousin of Divaldo, sought the help of a renowned clairvoyant named Ana Ribeiro Borges to understand and assist with mysterious circumstances. The clairvoyant discovered that Divaldo's deceased brother was spiritually attached to him, causing a form of spiritual obsession. She gave him a biomagnetic pass for a health recovery, advising him to study Spiritism and visit the City Spirit Center. Despite being Catholic, he attended a reading of the Gospel according to Spiritism. He fell into a trance and delivered a message from his recently deceased brother. In 1945, he went to the city of Salvador to study mediumship and get a better job to help his family. He got a job as a typist, but was fired after 13 days due to the war recession. Divaldo thought about taking his own life by throwing himself off a cliff, but his sister's spirit stopped him and told him to watch her, to see the consequence of what she had done. After several jobs, he ended up at the Institute of Social Security and Assistance for state employees, where he worked until he retired. At the age of 22, in 1949, he felt severe pain on his arm and thought it was juvenile rheumatism. A friend suggested it was a mediumistic manifestation. They gave him a paper and he wrote a message, signed as Marco Prisco, saying he will return tomorrow at the same time. After several years, the spirits told him to board all his psychographies, which were just exercises. The spirit Humberto de Campos guided him to meet medium Chico Xavier in Pedro Leopoldo, leading to a lasting friendship after exchanging letters. In 1945, he met Nison de Souza Pereira, his cousin and collaborator in his humanist journey. That year, he had his first conscious contact with Jonah D'Angelis, his spiritual benefactor. In 1947, he had a brief encounter with Chico Xavier. In 1948, while staying in Pedro Leopoldo, he was asked about that spirit. He was told to wait and that he should call her Joanna D'Angelis, but that was a pseudonym. Divaldo traveled a lot to visit Chico when he gave lectures near him to get oriented about his mediumship. He considered him his teacher. Now, how he founded the Mansion of the Way? In 1947, he saw the Spiritist lecturer José de Costa Freitas and told him about the venerable entity he saw inspiring the lecturer. José advised Divaldo to establish his own Spiritist center called Spiritist Center on the Way of Redemption. Divaldo promptly opened the center 2 days later in a room of a meeting at his home. The group's initial mission was to aid local families with food and assistance. In 1948, the Auta de Souza caravan was created to extend help to 500 families with necessities like medicine, healthcare, and clothing. While traveling on a train with Nilsson in 1948, he had a vision, an out-of-body experience. He was projected to a large area with trees, schoolhouses, and children playing. He saw an old man taking care of the children and realized it was himself an advanced age. He heard a voice that said, This is the task you must perform. This is what you will do in your life. You will be an educator. Almost at the same time, Nilsson had a similar vision and saw the plans for institutions that they were soon able to achieve. During a mediumistic session, entities communicated a plan for Divaldo, Nilsson, and their collaborators to focus on education. They were told to first take children as their own, then establish foster homes in a community settings. The Spiritism Center of the Way of Redemption members worked to acquire their own headquarters to fulfill Spirit's recommendation. In 1950, Divaldo saw an auction for La Mansión de Silva, the Silva Mansion, in a newspaper. An spirit advised him to hold a rifle with a car as a price, but the car salesman demanded money and a signed endorsement. Feeling disheartened, Divaldo was visited by a spirit named José Núñez de Matos, who provided his own phone number. Divaldo called and arranged a meeting without knowing the address, which the spirit later revealed. Matos Jr. was intrigued by the story and he acknowledged Divaldo's authenticity by mentioning details only known by his father, but at that time he had no money. The spirit informed Divaldo that his son was unaware of receiving payment for a job, which was deposited in his bank on Brazil account. José Núñez confirmed the money, which he lent to Divaldo to purchase a car for a successful rifle. With the earnings, they bought the house. The previous owners initially refused to vacate, but after experiencing paranormal events, they decided to leave. The Mansion of the Way was established in August 1952 to care for orphan children, despite opposition from the nearby Episcopal Palace that believed that the devil should not have presence nearby. In 1955, Nilsson and Divaldo visited a land in Salvador where Divaldo had a vision similar to the one he had on the train. That year, they purchased the 78,000 square meter lands, which is now home to the Mansion of the Way, named in honor of the House of the Way, the first Christian community founded by the apostles. The spirits urged Divaldo to practice what he preaches by taking on a social job to demonstrate his sincerity. Meanwhile, his friend Nilsson managed the children and oversaw the mansion, when Divaldo was busy with psychographic work or traveling for lectures to support himself financially. The mansion now serves as a large educational and social association complex with over 45 buildings, including streets, booths, and a lake, catering to around 5,000 vulnerable children and families. And Uncle Nilsson returned to the spiritual world on November 21 in 2013 at the age of 89. The organization provides free socio-educational, medical, and assistance services like meals, distributions, daycare, schools, courses, medical center, and more. Over 4,000 free meals are served daily. Uncle Nilsson was the president and administrator of this great work that has fully achieved its objectives. His lectures. In 1950, Divaldo gave his first Spirit lecture at the Spiritual Joy Congress in Sao Paulo. And then he expanded to give talks about other spiritual organizations like the House of Fine Arts and Ministries. In 1962, he was invited to speak internationally, starting with Argentina, followed by other Latin American countries, and eventually the United States. In 1964, his first book, Mies de Amor, was published, channeled by Spirit Joanna D'Angelis. In 1967, he lectured in France, the birthplace of Spiritism, and in Portugal. He revitalized the Spiritism movement. He spent 200 days a year or more giving conferences in Brazil and abroad. Divaldo is the only medium to psychograph an entire book in a language that was not his own, Genoglossi. During a trip to Mexico in 1990, he wrote Hacia las Estrellas, Toward the Stars in Spanish. He also showcased physical mediumship abilities, including materializations and transfigurations, notably when she channeling the spirit of Becerra de Meneses. Sometimes, after lectures, Divaldo hands emit perfume. Elizabeth Reis recalled how he transformed water into a gaseous form with a unique flavor and essence when her husband was ill, and the house remained scented for 2 weeks by spiritual fluids. During commemorations in Paris for Allan Kardec's 200th birth anniversary and 250 years of the Book of Spirits in Brasilia, he psicographed 2 messages in French and English, respectively. He has psicographed messages in English, French, German, Italian, and even African language, and in mirror mode, with inverted text that can only be read against the light or through a mirror. He has more than 13,000 conferences in 74 countries in 2000 cities. Some have been at the United States, in New York, the most recent being March 23 in 2023. He has 15,000 radio and TV interviews. He has received more than 600 tributes and recognition, and he was named, along with Nilsson, Ambassador of Peace in the World in Geneva, Switzerland. Divaldo has written more than 250 psicographic books on various authors and topics, and whose profits are used to maintain the Mansion of the Way. Well, this is the main about Divaldo. I don't know if you want to hear about her spirit guide.
Yes, please.
Yes. It's Joanna D'Angelis. On December 5, 1945, he first heard her voice in a meeting when she told him that she was to walk by his side in this lifetime with no promises of benefit of ease. When he asked for her name, she simply said to call her spirit friend. She later revealed her true name to him. She predicted that he would write many books and disclosed that she had been a nun in many of her past lives. In her last life, she was Juana Angélica de Jesús, a nun who sacrificed herself to save her companions from Portuguese soldiers during the Wars of Independence in Bahia, Brazil. In 1969, upon finishing a conference in Mexico, in a Masonic lodge, Joanna revealed to Divaldo that she was a reincarnation of Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, a renowned nun, reader, a philosopher who learned to read at a young age. During a trip to Rome, Joanna revealed to Nilsson that she had a past life as Joanna Okusa, who was a martyr for her faith. She shared that Nilsson was her son in that life. In the city of Assisi, Italy, Joanna makes Divaldo speak in Italian with a nun, who excitedly takes him to the tomb of Clare of Assisi, and there he realizes that she was also Clare of Assisi, the holy nun friend of San Francisco de Assis. She is known for her psychological series, a collection of 16 books on transpersonal and Jungian psychology used in Brazilian universities. Some curious facts about Divaldo. Divaldo has been miraculously healed of life-threatening illnesses on multiple occasions. For example, in 1945, he was cured of throat cancer when the spirit of a nurse named Sheila used a laser-like device during a mediumistic session. In 2006, he successfully treated his prostate cancer through visualizations and self-love, and he encouraged Nilsson Pereira, his friend, to do the same, and Nilsson defeated the bone cancer and lived 14 more years. And Divaldo was hospitalized in 2020 with a severe lung issues. He had a vision while in bed of being in a field of flowers. He absorbed the petals through his nose and heard a voice saying, "You will stay remain here. You are still useful to us." When young, he couldn't tell spirits from the living, so he never learned to drive. He adopted 600 children with his last name, and a press excommunicated him during a public lecture in a square. And he wants to thank Karin and Wendy for today's lecture, especially Karin, wherever she is. I think he must be right here. And I think that's it. It wasn't that long.
It was very informative. You packed a lot into a short time, Alberto. Thank you. I have questions for you. I found that fascinating and sometimes humorous. I like that that the paranormal activity started in a house where the people wouldn't move out. It was really quite funny. Dan.
Yes, Alberto, you mentioned a reference to Chico Xavier, of course, who was from Brazil. What about Spiritism in other Latin American countries besides Mexico and Brazil? Have you researched that? Are you familiar with people in the other Latin countries who are involved?
Yes, they are the spirit teams in other countries. They are like more known than here. They know more about Kardec, and they are more organized than here. They have like bigger organizations, and they have invited Divaldo to their countries. They have conference. They have orphanage. They have hospitals. Like in Brazil, but in smaller scale, especially in Colombia.
Thank you.
If anyone else has questions, just pop your hand up.
Somebody asked if Divaldo is still alive.
Yes, he is. He's like 97 years old.
Absolutely amazing. Anna Castro has joined us. Anna, would you like to just perhaps say hello and tell us a little bit about your knowledge of Divaldo?
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late, but I had something over here in my house. Sure. So Divaldo is now 96 years old, and as you could tell, his health is not the best. However, despite his age and his health condition, if you happen to listen to him speaking in public, and Gloria and Carol, they had the chance to listen to him, you would not say it is a 96-year-old man and still dealing with so many health issues, because his energy, his stamina, it's like he's speaking with such a loud voice. And so in one of the occasions, more than one of the occasions actually, when we saw him in Florida, it was very evident the help that he had from his guides, all of them behind him, and kind of giving him, strength and good energy. And it's just an amazing experience to listen to someone who actually cannot really distinguish whether he's looking at someone that is incarnated or not. He's that powerful in terms of his mediumistic skills. One thing that we need to also say is, I see a lot of comparison between Chico Xavier and Divaldo Franco. And one thing that we need to keep in mind is those guys, they have different missions. So we do not even know if they come from the same place, but definitely they have different mission. Chico Xavier, his mission was really the writing, Chico Xavier never did public speaking per se. Actually, he did once. It was like less than 20 minutes, many, many years ago. And but in Divaldo Franco's case, his mission is really speak to the public. He does publish a lot of books. The books from Joana de Angelis, his mentor, they are not easy from the perspective of, she's not talking about a story. She's talking about human suffering. Actually, there are a lot of people who think that maybe one of her incarnation was as Freud. So, because she knows a lot about the soul, soul suffering, and evidently lots of books from Divaldo, but not even close as Chico's. However, Divaldo had traveled the whole world, and he continues, despite of his age, he's still traveling around the world and talking to people. It's amazing.
Thank you, Anna. I wonder if we could hear from Carol Brown, who heard Divaldo. Carol?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. He did have some help, getting to the podium and all that. But it was like when he started speaking, everything just got really quiet. And you could just start feeling the energy, and his voice kept getting stronger and stronger. And I mean, it was amazing. It was really amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing that I noticed, and I told this, Carol, that last time when we were there in Florida and listening to him, at the end of the conference, he was invited to say the prayer, the closing prayer. And if you happen to be able to see, the spiritual realm, you could tell that what he was saying, the words from his prayer, actually, he was describing what was going on in that room. And it was amazing because you can imagine that somebody like him, so yes, you have his guides, but you have also, higher beings. And what they were doing, they were actually using the whole audience energy, and they were helping these beings, some from lower realm. And we could see that. We could see, because at some point I was looking at what the, it was like the room, there was this huge opening, there was this crack, and then I could say, that's so deep, and the crack was going to, and all of a sudden I saw this creatures, I don't know, and I thought I was but it was not only me seeing, and then I noticed, okay, so he's actually describing what the spirits, what they are doing, they're helping others. As a matter of fact, when those guys, when they go to speak to the public, actually, a couple days before, the spirits, they go ahead of us and they prepare that ambient. They put devices so to protect the whole place, to protect everybody, to make sure that the event's gonna go well. But also they would do they will follow their agenda as well, as far as helping others, not only us incarnated, but also discarnated people. And the day before the beginning of the conference, I saw that they put something at the very top. I never been in that place, but somehow I saw the place. It was this huge conference room, and they had something on the top and the ceiling, and there was this kind of bluish energy that device was, radiating, if you will. And so they were cleansing the whole ambient. They were preparing the ambient so for the next day. And they stayed there until the end of the conference. And it was very nice because actually that conference took place in a high school. So you can imagine how all those young fellows, how they got benefit from the high vibration, the good energy that we had. We experienced that in that weekend.
Fascinating. Gloria, what about you? You were there with Carol?
Yes, there were a number of people who came from Houston with Anna, and Carol and I were there, and also Debbie Castro, and she's not here today. My experience at the very beginning, not knowing what was going on or anything about it, I was just really a neophyte. During the opening prayer, actually, I experienced something like I've never experienced in my life, and it was very, very dark energy is all I can say. And I was shuddering because I'd never felt anything like that pass through my body. And I thought, well, it must be remnants of the energy, because it was this large auditorium with hundreds of people. And it dissipated because I kept praying, and it dissipated, but that had never happened to me before, to have something like that pass through my body. When Divaldo Franco came in, the hundreds of people who were there, you could tell, they just, as he came down the aisle, there was just admiration and awe for his work and what he represented in terms of love. And when he spoke in Portuguese, which, even though I was wearing a headset, I missed a lot, but you could tell what he was speaking of was love. Love is the answer. It was all about love. And I didn't need to know Portuguese to get the message. And my experience when he spoke was that he transfigured on the stage. He had somebody helping him as he came in, because he's very elderly and he's weak. And so it was, just in case he slip or fall or something. And you can tell people walk with him in great reverence. But when he was speaking, I'd shake my head, because he was youthing before my eyes. His face was changing into that of a young man, and he was speaking with great energy and enthusiasm for a prolonged period of time. I was absolutely amazed, because I think he went on for well over an hour, and everybody was just completely transfixed in what he was saying, and nobody, he didn't lose the audience even for a second, even in Portuguese, and there were people there from all over the country and other countries, and it was a not just soul experience, it was a physical experience because of all the things that we were feeling. The other thing that just happened just now when Alberto was speaking during his presentation, we were outside during a break. It was for lunch or something, and we were standing as a group, our group, and there were lots of people milling around. And we said a prayer together, and during the prayer, a spirit named Shayla revealed herself to us. Shiel, and he just said a nurse in 1945, a name by that name, and the person I saw Anna was able to show me a picture of her, and she's now one of the mentors of our regular prayer group. So I just had a profound experience today with your presentation, Alberto, because she came to our group in Florida, and she's a mentor of our prayer group now, and she healed Divaldo back in the 40s. I mean, these experiences are just incredible, and they're all around this man. He's truly a representative of spirit.
Yeah, echo that, because the transfiguration, we all see, you know, we all saw that old man just becoming younger and younger right in front of your eyes. It was amazing. But I thought it was so funny because Gloria, she was sitting right beside me, and then she said, "Oh my goodness, I saw spirits, you know, I saw Marilyn Monroe." I said, "It was not Marilyn Monroe, it was Sister Shayla, this mentor. I saw her too." And by the way, she has a test for us. So it was so funny. I saw Marilyn Monroe. No, it was not, because they look alike. But yeah, she's amazing. She's pretty, and her energy is amazing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Kim, can I hand it back to you for a little while?
Sure. Well, can I share my little Divaldo?
Please do.
Yeah, because Gloria, in one of our GOSH meetings, so GOSH, I run GOSH, and it's an acronym for Gatherings Over Strange Happenings, and we talk about everything under the sun pretty much. And Gloria reported on this transformation, a new thing, as you called it, Gloria, to a GOSH group. And I'll just have a look. I've written it all down. That we'd started using gematria, which is for those who don't know, it's a numerological system derived from Greek influence, where Hebrew letters correspond to numbers. So 2 words or phrases have the same numerical value, and this can indicate a connection. I don't use it often because it's now full of a lot of overly religious stuff, which I don't like, conspiracy stuff, but I did use it on this day. So Gloria was telling us all about seeing Divaldo Franco speaking about Spiritism, and she never mentioned that he was mostly talking about love. So I've had my little experience here today too, but that he was talking about Spiritism, and she marvelled that he appeared to get decades younger as he talked, right? And as she was talking about this phenomenon, I thought to myself that this was rejuvenation occurring whilst he spoke from the divine essence. And I wrote down the name Divaldo Franco on my notebook in order to research him, because I'd never heard of him before this. So this is only a couple of months ago, isn't it? Like, it's not that long ago. And as I did so, I'm clairaudient, so a voice said, "We'll bring you home." So I continued, I put that down. So I had Divaldo Franco, "Will bring you home." And after the meeting, I put "will bring you home" into the Geomatrix search engine, and the word rejuvenation appeared on the first page. And I thought, that's a fascinating sort of synchronicity in itself. And then I put in the complete sentence, "Divaldo Franco will bring you home." And up popped, "Love is the only way." So that's when I got a bit interested in Divaldo. Yeah, Inga.
Yeah, I met him in 2014 with Medrado in a City of Light, and just standing very close to him. As you say, he looked younger. Like, no way would I have thought he was that age. He was then. No way. It was like a lot younger. And I was thinking, oh my God, this man has very strong energy. But I didn't know I didn't know anything about him. But it was like there was a lot younger spirit there. And it was just amazing. Just so cool. Energy-wise, very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Is
He seems an absolutely amazing man, and it's for those of us who don't know anything about him or would like an introduction or like to know more. Anna, what's the best way in to learning more about Divaldo?
There is actually a movie about his life. Not sure whether that movie was translated to English, but you might want to type, on Google, Divaldo Franco's life in a movie. But there is a very good movie about him, and it's not new. It's been out there for a while. And I know his website is also in English. They translate it in English. And because his work is huge in Salvador. By the way, Salvador is like Medrado, right? Yeah, so they live in the same city, and his work is quite famous in the whole country. So it's huge. So I'm pretty sure it's all translated in English and lots of other languages as well.
Anna, have you ever been to his city, his
Yeah.
mission? Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so his mission actually he started he had a very humble beginning, because I remember many years ago, I don't think I was even born, somebody donated this property land in a suburban area around Salvador City. And over there, so he started like in a Spiritist center, and then along the years, that work developed so well. So today he holds the Spiritist Center, a hospital, a university, a school for technicians, daycare, orphanage, like Alberto was sharing. So he himself had to adopt 600 plus kids. So today that area, that work is around like the whole is about 5 blocks or so. It's huge area. I don't even remember how huge it is, but you can tell from a university. He has schools like from kindergarten all the way to university. So depending on whether the kid wants to continue the studies, but it's amazing work. It's huge. Not to mention all the charities that he does. So when he is there in this place, I know the conference room that they have over there is like a theater. Is about, I think it's 2,000 people capacity, something like this. He's so used to speak to thousands of people. That's how big deal he is in Brazil.
Would you think, Alberto and Anna, would you think that when he has these huge audiences, there's just as many on the other side, and then you've brought in that beautiful thing of entities that really need assistance also being brought there to learn?
Yes, absolutely, Kim. Sorry, Alberto, I'm speaking on top of you, but I just happened to notice that I have not been in a place where there's an event like this and somebody like him talking. I have not been in a situation where I can see, like, for every incarnated person, there are at least 4 or 5 discarnated. It's huge. The audience is, remember, whatever they are talking, and it's not just for us, because our learning never stops, right?
Yeah, lovely. That's beautiful.
Alberto, how do the Catholic Church relate to Divaldo? Do they ignore him? Do they claim that he's a saint? Do they accept him
Well, and officially, they
officially
don't.
or and unofficially?
Officially, like they reject all they have to do, like with mediumship, spiritism, all of the psychics. Officially, they don't like at all. But unofficially, they have a lot of friends that are priests, that are nuns, that follow him, that because he also helps them and do charity to them. So he has a lot of friends in the church.
I could imagine many of the priests and nuns would be going to his talks. Anna, is that something that you're aware of that relationship with the church? He just seems to be a real living saint. Incredible.
Yes,
There
oh, sorry.
No, there is like a nun who is a saint now that was very famous in Brazil, that he was friend of Divaldo.
Oh, wonderful.
I don't know. I don't remember her name. Santa. She was made a saint not long ago, but they were friends because she did a lot of charity too.
Right.
Dulce, Irmã Dulce. You're
Sí, Irmã
talking
Dulce.
about,
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like a Mother Teresa. Exactly the same story, exactly the same type of work, and they were very good friends. As a matter of fact, Divaldo actually, he has a lot of friends from all the other beliefs. He has no problem with, and they respect him quite a lot.
That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Does anybody else have some questions? Has anybody seen the movie, Divaldo Franco, Messenger of Peace? Gloria.
I'd like to know more about Alberto.
Okay, Alberto, that's over to you. Let's hear a little bit about you.
Well, I live in Mexico and Ciudad Valles, in the state of San Luis Potosí. Here I am. The area where I am is called the Huasteca Potosina. It's like a selvatic area, jungle, like where it has a city. It's surrounded by waterfalls and rivers and lakes and lush vegetation. We have like wild birds and animals, and so tourists from all the world come here, like especially French European people. They like to visit here. I live here. I studied in another city that was near here, Tampico, because here is a small city, Valles. Then I returned to work in my dad's business. My dad passed away like 6 years ago. Now we're only with my brothers and me on the family business. My dad always liked this kind of topics. He always liked it, like the UFOs, the God, spirits, and like as I say, the Mexican culture is intertwined with the shamanic beliefs and with our ancestors, because everybody here, even though they don't tell aloud, they believe in the supernatural. All the Mexicans, they go to receive cleansings, like I say, with herbs and essence and perfumes. Would they do it in secret? In secret, because like as I say, the society here is like they like to point out, oh look, what he's doing is he's doing things outside the church, or he put the devil, things like that.
Very interesting, Alberto. Very interesting. So, do you attend Spiritist meetings, or are you part of the official Spiritism in Brazil?
I used to attend here, but because of the work schedule, I stopped to go.
Fantastic. Okay. Lisa, you just pointed out that Sonia speaks about Divaldo a lot. Could you share what you know? Lisa's still there?
I think she's gone. She said
She might have
got
just
to go.
left. She had to go. Okay, that's fine. That's really one. Lourdes, can I get you to come in on this? You're living in Mexico.
Yes, and like I told you, I was very happy when I heard about Alberto. I am very proud, very proud. I wish I could be able to focus on something and present it just like you did, but I'm a total scatterbrained. So I'm hearing you. In case there's any way I can help you, I live in Monterrey, North. So if there's anything you need, I can help you because for real, I'm very, very proud of you. And that was my reason to come here today because I didn't know about Divaldo, so I learned a lot. And so, well, now.
Thank you.
Besides, Wendy, like all the Mexicans, I grew up and I attended any type of ceremonies in front of the main church. People, sometimes Aztecs or wannabe Aztecs, gather and they make ceremonies. I went to all the limpias, which are the cleansings. I went to all the tarot readings and to everything, but it's hard to separate what is real than what it's not. That's the main challenge when you grow in Mexico, to keep it serious and to keep it connected to your heart. And so I've always tried to stay like very rational in the middle of all this, and to be very careful. That's why it's so important that people like Alberto, who know how to put this and write it down and organize it, present it to the world. That was your question, right, Wendy? Like,
Absolutely, absolutely. Lourdes, that's really lovely to have that perspective from a local. Alberto, could you tell people about the little videos that you're making?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Alberto Mon, like Alberto M-O-N. I try to speak about afterlife things and paranormal things, and they are short videos. Usually they are shorts because people don't like usually long videos. I don't have many viewers, but I think the information is very good, very interesting, and especially because I try to use like scientific information or proof, not like somebody say a thing once and then I believe because once only because he said not. I try to recompile or gather from many sources that repeat the same information, and then I present that. So I present like what they are saying. I never say this is the truth. This is the way it is. So now I say this person says this. It is like that, and this organization says this because other thing that one of the things I don't like generally is fanaticism, or fanatical. And how do you say it? I don't
That's
like
right.
I don't like that, and I despise. I don't think I despise the fanaticism. And internet is full of fanaticism in all aspects, including spiritism. I know some spiritists that are fanatics, and they are only attacking, speaking bad about others, and I don't like that.
And that's wonderful, Alberto. We'll get people to have a look at some of your videos, which are excellent. So, anybody else got questions about before we change the topic? Okay. Inga, I wonder Pardon me. You did such a great job, Alberto, on your presentation. I totally agree with what everybody else is saying.
Thank you.
Fantastic job, particularly doing it in a language other than your own natural language. Pardon me. Inga, could you give us an update on the work of Medrado? I know you've been very involved in his work, and as you know, we've been doing a bit of a fundraising for Medrado. What is it about Brazil that has so many of these amazing mediums, amazing people who are really into service? Have you thought about that?
I don't know what it is. Maybe they're more open, they more real. Like when I go to City of Light, the people are so beautiful. You know, they just, I don't know, they're just so warm, so welcoming. You know, you don't find that in Europe, and you don't even find that in Australia. Not as often, anyway. So I don't know. I think the whole country of Brazil, I really love it. I just think there is, you know, they say in Salvador, so they told me in Salvador, after 9 o'clock, you don't stop at the red light, yeah, because of carjacking. I just cannot believe that. And I go, I don't know. I have just met so many beautiful people, and they have fun, and you know, they seem to be positive, even they're not like people say, oh, they're not as well off as the Western world or whatever. They have just a different outlook at life. So maybe spirits have a more liking to that kind of people. I don't know I really don't know. But I just think they're great people out there. I just think they're great. I don't know.
Fantastic. Anna, do you have any thoughts on why it is that Brazil has attracted such amazing dedicated spiritists?
It has to do with history, actually. And if you happen to know the history of Latin America as a whole, and if you happen to know is also about the spirit plans for the whole humanity, then you can understand how and why it happened that way. Because at the end of the day, even though some people say, well, it's so sad that what happened to the American continent, all those Europeans coming along and killing the local population and, you know, doing all those atrocities. And, but at the end of the day, not saying what is right or wrong, but if you ask, in America, I'm not talking about just Brazil, I'm talking the entire continent. If you ask, okay, so what do you know about love? Everybody will have a different belief, but they will know about, you know, what love is. And they will have a humble example to say, you know, how to better serve the other. And then if you think about what happened to, for example, the slaves, you know, coming from Africa, yeah, it was not meant to be that way. They were not meant to migrate to America that way. But if you think about, well, it was all about this plan from the spiritual realm to bring that the mediumship that they have, the African people hold, this mediumship element to bring that element to the American continent. And then if you unite mediumship and love together, that's what it is. So I guess what happened in Europe was because of all the wrongdoings from church in the past. So we kind of got tired of all the religion teachings, all the church teachings. We just don't want that. But in Brazil, it's not exactly that way. We certainly understand, and we certainly agree that what the church, all those mistakes. But at the end of the day, I guess what happened in Brazil is, and not saying that it's anything special, because I can see the same in the whole Latin America, is I guess because of the economic situation, we were obligated to be humble, to become humble people, and to learn how to respect the other, not because of position or because of well-being or because of wealth, but to respect the other person because as a human being. And yeah, so if you bring together the mediumistic or the mediumship element plus the love plus humbleness plus the thought that, hey, what you are doing here, what are you doing here? Our main mission is to be of serve, to be helpful, to be useful for somebody else, to help one another. So I guess that's how it is. That the more you do that, the more you live that way. So the easier to understand that actually we are not so far away from the spiritual realm. We are not so far away from all the mentors and guides that they are out there helping us. So yeah.
Ellen had her hand raised. Ellen?
Yes, I understand that many of the spiritists, or that there's actually a lot of spiritists in Brazil who are involved in helping people in psychiatric crises, where I understand that they go into, and this is through a woman I know named Emma Bragdon, who's has Integrated Mental Health University, and she offers classes. And I was curious, Anna or Alberto, if any of you are involved in any of this, and how the mediums get trained or learn to work with people who are in these severe, what is called psychosis, but the mediums go in and actually say, this is what this person is experiencing, and so on. I'm just very curious about that and how the mediums actually get trained to do that kind of work.
I have to say that happened because today the doctors in Brazil, they are more willing to accept the spiritual dimension, the spiritual reality, and they are not so opposed to that kind of solution, if you will. I know of some societies in Brazil, and they are made of doctors, all kind of doctors, from surgeons to psychiatrists, and they happen to be spiritist people. And because of that, then they are open to that kind of work, if you will. So they put together someone that is, mental or mentally ill, if you know, and then they put together a medium. And if there is something spiritual out there, the medium will be able to capture. And as a matter of fact, what they do is nothing different than what I know Luis, and we know Luis, he has talked about that for many years, about those release meetings, right? So spiritual release. So it's really, it's not a matter of talking to the person that is ill, but trying a communication to the spirit that is actually obsessing the incarnated person. So when they speak and when they try to bring that person or that spirit to reason, if you will. So that's what they do. And then as they are successful, then that will bring, well, automatically the mentally ill person will feel, better and, more comfortable, if you will.
I've got a question there. Is there ever an approach from the medical fraternity and the spiritists that can see that mental illness might on some occasions be shamanic initiation? So we always treat people who hear voices as being mentally ill, but in fact that's not always the case. It's a classical shamanic. Yeah. So is there, instead of always getting rid of spirits that are talking to people or obsessing them, is there any approach that harmonizes the path of that person with their shamanic intent from spirit? Or is it always a negative approach to?
That's sort of at the heart of my question, Kim. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes.
My pleasure, Alan. There's a fabulous book called Entering the Circle by Olga Karatidi. I'll pop it in the chat. And she was a Russian psychiatrist who became a medium in essence and began to be aware that a lot of the people coming in weren't actually ill. Some of them were having, bad experiences, such as Anna and Alberto were talking about, but also some were having shamanic experiences, initiations. Yeah, she was herself. So is there ever that approach, Anna, that in fact the spirit isn't always a bad thing doing things to someone, that it's an actual initiation process?
It always depends, because in Brazil we say something about if you see somebody suffering because of any spiritual influence, it cannot be good.
Oh,
Right.
okay. So there is no concept of having to die in order to be reborn, which is in essence, your shamanic path where there's a massive trauma.
Yeah, what
It's
happened?
accepted in African societies. So, well, what was his name? There's a famous book about it, of an African guy who came here to study, but he was actually trained as a shaman in his own community. And it's quite accepted there. So,
Yeah.
so there's no real recognition of that. It's not always an illness, even though it might present as disturbing to begin with, because we haven't got the paradigm to see the positive ones as aside from the negative cases who are really ill.
Yeah, you see, most of the time, I mean, when they realize that it's more spiritual than actually a mental illness, most of the time what happens is that person is actually a medium, a very sensitive medium, and because that person has no education whatsoever, doesn't know anything about it, do not know how to control that mediumship, then there will be a lot of spirits. And same way like incarnated people, if you do not protect yourself, there will be a lot of people trying to get advantage of you, or, you know, tricking you or joke you, kidding you. So the same way. So if you do not, if you're a medium, if you happen to be a medium and you have no education, you do not do any studying, if you do not have any means to protect you, you will synchronize, or you will get connected to all kind of, you know, beings out there.
Yeah, so the focus is getting rid of the beings. Is there any incorporation of training the natural medium in that situation?
There are several, it's very common in the Spirit Center in Brazil, and I'm pretty sure in all Latin America country who knows about Spiritism, I'm pretty sure in Mexico as well. They are all dedicated some classes for mediumship, where once you recognize, okay, so you have this type of mediumship, and now it's time for you to study and educate your mediumship and know how to avoid getting in trouble, how to put that mediumship in service, like, you know, use as a tool to help others and not as a tool to bring you problems, you know, put you in danger, if you will.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that for me, this is the exciting thing about Spiritism, the fact that mediumship is always equated with service.
Mhm.
And there's there's definite emphasis on humility. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't see that with mediumship. And it's really, really lovely, a lovely, lovely part of Spiritism. I think we might finish at that point. Alberto, you've done a fabulous presentation. Karen would be very, very proud of you. I know that she supported your work from the get-go, and she was often in touch with you, and she really wanted to see you doing more and to see you succeeding. And I think we all agree that you've done absolutely brilliantly today. It was, and we look forward to seeing more of you, and we look forward to seeing more of your videos. So thank you so much for the work you put into your research. It was wonderful. And Anna, thank you, Dave, for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know that you're running from one thing to another, and it was really lovely. Kim, can I hand over to you to thank our speakers?
Absolutely. Thank you, Alberto. It was a wonderfully concise introduction to Divaldo for people that had never perhaps heard about him. So that was just lovely. And spreading that message of love and of that sort of service is in itself a fabulous service. So thank you. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.